Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be playing as Brazil in the modern day, and I'm going to be forming what I can only translate as the Sacred Empire of Brazil. I think that's what Sacro Imperio do Brasil means. So, yep, that's what we're going to be doing. And so, right off the bat, I start off constructing literally every economic building that I can, mainly because, okay, one, it's a nice way to spend time, but also because I want to increase my economy as much as I can. And the good thing, again, I think I've spoken about this before, but I think one thing I've realized about Age of History 3 is that it favors larger nations, as in no, and okay, that sounds really stupid, right? Obviously it's going to favor larger nations, but what I mean is, like, when you're a larger country, your income will obviously naturally be higher, so it has like a compounding effect on the rest of your gameplay, because you're able to do a lot more in a lot shorter of a time. Whereas if you're a small country, you'll need to spend way longer waiting for income. And then, like, you'll spend all that time waiting for income and trying to generate it, only to get invaded by a bigger power. Anyways, I was just spending money constructing buildings. Peru offered an alliance, but I instead decided to go ally with Ecuador instead. Now, the reason for that was because, well, for this conquest, I would need to conquer Bolivia, Paraguay, um, Argentina, and Uruguay, and Chile. So, because of that, I couldn't ally with Paraguay, or else I wouldn't be able to, you know, conquer them later on. As funny as that sounds. And I also built some academies because I realized I need to improve my technology. Because trust me, technology is like, I normally I'd forget about it if this was Age of History 2, but in Age of History 3, technology makes like a major difference. Like, it'll turn. I remember someone describing it as like, if you upgrade your technology enough, it'll turn your soldiers into space marines. Which, yeah, no, it's like pretty accurate description, honestly. And so my first invasion was Paraguay, and I mean that went pretty easily. I was able to completely like wipe out their army with like barely any casualties, by the way. And then, it was a quick land grab. Nobody said anything. Nobody did anything. And just, yeah, Paraguay's Brazil now. They're into Brazil. And then I looked over to the near my neighbors, and I see all of them are in this gigantic war between Bolivia and Peru versus Chile and Argentina. And I decided to intervene without wasting any time and attack Bolivia, because I realized this war was against, like, it was a war between Peru and Chile that expanded. And so I realized that I could take advantage of their armies being distracted and just snatch Bolivia for myself and leave Peru alone. And so now, I watched the rest of this war unfold as Argentina and Chile continued to occupy the rest of what was Peru, and Chile got a gigantic chunk from the bottom of it. And so, now I was left with only Uruguay, Argentina, and Chile to invade. But actually, wait, no, I forgot to mention. I think Argentina had conquered Uruguay by this point, so it was more like just Argentina and Chile. And so I started raising my army because I knew this was gonna be a much harder fight. And you guys know me; I like to keep everything in multiples of five. So I spent some time fixing that up before really raising my army all the way up to the maximum army limit that I could get. And so now at 105, uh, yeah, I used up some legacy, and then I ruined. Well, okay, I checked my relations first. I had to really let this sink in. Had to let this war like marinate a little bit, and then I started. What do you call it? Before going to war, I started constructing buildings again. Now you might be wondering why I'm doing this. Main reason is because I realized that, like, this is the smart way to play the game, right? In between your wars, you focus on economic development because your money will always keep going up, but aggressive expansion takes a long ass time to go away. So this is how I decided to like spend the time, just developing my country economically, and then like compounding my power even more. And yeah, it was just a lot of this. I was just spending money, like finding new ways to spend money, basically. Swear, like at some point in the game, though, you get to a point where you literally have nothing left to upgrade. That's like the late game of late game, yeah, late game of Age of History 3. Like recently, I was. Oh wait, no, okay, forget about it. Yeah, I finally go to war with Argentina. Sorry, so abrupt. The thing is, I actually recorded this gameplay a couple days ago, but I wasn't able to do the voiceover, guys, so I'm a little lost. But I remember what I did though, and yeah, this Argentine invasion went really easily. It's like I went all the way to the bottom, and then the only problem was that they didn't let me take all the territory because, I mean, naturally, because Argentina's massive, so I just took every little bit of territory that I could and made a peace treaty. So now my aggressive expansion was like through the roof. It was really high now, and yeah, I all I could do now was just wait, because I really could like it annoys me. Again, I've talked about this before. The aggressive expansion thing. It's realistic. I get it. If a country in real life started conquering and expanding like 10 times their territory, yes, everybody would unite to get rid of them. But like, damn, does it make a gameplay annoying. Especially when you have the money and power to do it, like to just expand continuously. Next thing you know, you're fighting a giant coalition. I think I've spoken about this before. I learned that the hard way when I was first starting to play this game. I played as the US, tried to conquer Mexico, and then I succeeded in conquering all of Mexico. But my aggressive expansion went above 100, and the entire world united against me and proceeded to reverse everything I've done. It was so sad. And then, the funniest part is I didn't learn my lesson. I didn't know what it was for. So they like liberated Mexico from me, right? From that coalition. And then I proceeded to invade Mexico again. I invaded Mexico again and then got coalitioned again before realizing what I was doing wrong. Uh, anyways, yeah, so again, as I said earlier, I spent this time building up my stuff. Oh, my alliance with Ecuador expired, but I quickly fixed that up. It's so easy to like bribe nations. Yeah, and so after this point, I can't lie, I just spent again. There's nothing more for me to say. It's just like I spent the rest of the while making sure I'd constructed every single economic building possible, and that was it. And also, yeah, I spent all again, like since like look, now that my economy was absolutely peaking, but I still wasn't able to invade Argentina again because of the whole truce, right? Or not Argentina, but like Chile and Argentina, both actually. I wasn't able to invade them because of the truce, and so I was kind of just stuck waiting for both my aggressive expansion to go down and for peace, for the ability for me to attack again. And so once I checked, I actually noticed Chile was actually kind of good allies with me, which, I mean, hey, that kind of sucks. I had no choice, but I had to damage relations gradually. And, you might be wondering, why didn't I just insult them? Well, again, I'm trying to take it slow. And even while that was happening, because I was running out of ways to spend my money, I started mass constructing factories everywhere. Trust me, guys, that usually does the trick. This is literally the definition of like suffering from success. You just have you have too much money. This is what I've done. I think I've done in a previous gameplay, not on YouTube, but I mean like when I was playing before, I did this. And so now I was finally ready to attack Chile again, and this time I think because of a series of defense pacts, I was actually going to war with a lot more people. But regardless, I focused on Chile because and Chile and Argentina because I knew that would be the fastest way to get this war over with. And so even then, Colombia and yeah, Colombia showed up as well because I think Colombia had a defense pact with Chile. and Venezuela was allied to Colombia or something like that. But regardless, I was able to take over 90%, and I only took what I needed. I left like the parts of Chile that I did not need alone over in what they'd taken from Peru. So now all they were really left with is Peruvian territory. And I considered puppeting them, but I decided against it, mainly because I realized that I would lose them immediately afterwards, because even as a puppet, they would still remain allied to Argentina. And so the moment I invade Argentina, they would declare war on me, and then I'd lose them as a puppet again. So I realized there's no point. So now I was just left waiting for, again, the peace deal to end. I mean, now Chile is completely gone, or not completely, but, basically gone. And now I decided that I would need, oh wait, no, I would need to invade one main country that one specific country, you guys might not see it coming. But before I could do that, Ecuador got into a war with Colombia, which proceeded to drag in literally everybody, including Chile, Colombia, I think even Argentina. I don't know if Argentina got involved, but Chile and Colombia did. And so now I started basically winning the war on behalf of Ecuador, and conquering Colombia. I mean, I wouldn't get anything out of it, but still, I mean, I had to defend my ally. This is one of those moments where I actually defend my ally because, I mean, I didn't want to lose Ecuador. And so pretty soon I was able to just run rampant around Colombia and take whatever the hell I wanted. And also because I got into the engagement early, Ecuador's army didn't get destroyed. And then, the Argentinians came, they got wiped too. And soon enough, all of Colombia got taken out. And Ecuador, honestly, Ecuador did some modest expansion. They didn't even expand as much as they probably could have. Like, I would have rather had them take more territory, way more territory. But anyways, after that minor issue was dealt with, I had to spend all the money that I'd built up, because again, I'm making so much money per month, it's insane. So then I started raising a new army for the real grand war the biggest war that I have to fight over the smallest territory. And you're about to see what I mean, right? Because a small set of islands off the coast of Argentina. So I raised my army to exactly 200. I used some of my legacy points, and I got ready for what would be my biggest war of this playthrough so far, the war for the for the Falkland Islands. And so I moved my army all the way to the British coastline so that I could attack them immediately, because I realized, well, even though that war is over the Falklands, it's not like I'm actually going to take over the Falklands, because that's not going to give me any war score whatsoever. And so I spent my excess money on factories again, and then once my troops arrived, I looked around a little bit, just checked, and saw who the UK was allied with, and invaded them. And so the UK was allied with Germany. I knew this was going to be a tough fight, but I met my first battles all in the UK, and the British and Germans basically tried to dogpile me with all their armies, and literally all their armies got wiped out. But to be fair, I will say that it was actually a pretty tough battle, considering like my army of originally 200,000 strong was brought down all the way to 130 or 120 somewhere. So they actually managed to take out a lot of my people. And well, it didn't matter in the end because I was able to take over the UK anyways. And I mean, all I really needed was one single set of islands. So that was all. It was wrapped up pretty quickly actually, and took a while for me to search for my army. Yeah, and so I let my army replenish after that one. And now all I have left is Argentina, but I mean that's not gonna really take super long. So I let my army first come to the border, and again, what sucked is the Argentinians actually had a nice opinion of me, but I declared war immediately as soon as I got back from the British war, because I realized I didn't need to wait for my aggressive expansion to decrease anymore, since I had it was low enough. And just like that, I was able to take over Argentina and form the Sacro de Imperio Uh, Sacro Imperio de Brazil, Brazilian Empire. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.